Alright, today we're going to work on political pop style. So this involves putting paper down first, paint on top of this, and a stencil work on top of this. So we'll see where it goes from there. So the question of the day is, who is Roy Lichtenstein? Alright, today we're going to work on a new painting. I'm using this right here. So these are clamps, and what you do is you clamp outside of the work here, and as you'll see, so this is kind of how it looks like. And what this will allow you to do is not have any holes in the work. So you don't want any holes in the work using pins or pinching it. And these are all reusable, so these are a great tool. So I'm going to gesso this twice, and then we'll see where it goes from there. All right, for the gesso, we're going to use Blick Artist White Gesso. So I always use the best. Makes a difference in how fast you can cover the canvas. It is about 40% more, but it definitely speeds up the process. The cheaper stuff kind of separates and just smells like, I don't know, where the hell they made it or what they made it with. It's just horrible. So definitely use the Artist Gesso. That's my opinion. Alright, so we put down the very first layer. I'll do another layer and then we'll start the painting. So one of the first works is to cut this paper out. So I'll be cutting all these paper. So I'll be cutting off all the white trim of that paper. I can glue it down evenly, and then we'll see where it goes from there. so now we have all our paper cut. No end, so we're going to arrange this on the page and make sense of it all. So there's going to be a logical pattern. I think what I'm going to do is have kind of this coming through, which is kind of the computer programming in the background. I may use a process which has kind of this clear coat on the 1,0 thing, and then you overlay it. So I'm just kind of contemplating to see what will work best. That is kind of a dense layer. There's not just pure 1s and 0s. There's also kind of a black and 0s. So I'm not sure if that's the best approach or not, or just to kind of let it see through in some of the layers. So I might do that, because that's kind of like how Shepard Fairey does. He always uses kind of a torn paper. I like a really clear-cut edge, and then maybe kind of a sloppier paint. So we'll see. I'm gonna definitely do. The next stage would be cutting out the poster. So this is going to be the poster of Julian, obviously. So I'll put that on poster board, and that'll give me a nice stencil to work with, and that'll be a really nice edge. But that'll be kind of our final layer. Also with the word truth will be the final layer. So right now we're just working on this, the very beginning layer, which is just the background, and to figure out how to layer that kind of numbering to represent computer programming in the background. So we'll see how it goes from there. Alright, so now we're going to actually glue the paper down here, the initial layer, and we'll see where it goes from there. So we just got the first layer on. I still have to do kind of the 1-0, see if I'm going to still use that. I definitely like that as kind of the background to kind of center him in, have the whiter inside and then the dark coating outside. Maybe I'll come and strip through, but I think it'll be better on the outside. I have to add the letters truth at the bottom, of course. But I gotta let this dry a good 20-30 minutes, and then probably do another layer and then start adding more paper. what we're doing is I'm kind of taping this up, and so I'm going to get the outline, and from the outline I'll be able to draw this blue paper around, so we'll see what we go from there. Alright, so we kind of laid it in the background. I got to determine how I'm going to do a suit. I might continue the anonymous kind of paper, but I might just leave it. I think it's fine as is. I'll just have to use a different coloring, similar to how I did my Trump painting. So as you can see, you lay this up, we got pretty much a good match, and that'll be kind of really cool how that lines up. I think it should work. I mean, if you look at the original looks pretty good, I think. So we'll see how it goes. All right, today we're gonna add in kind of the hair. So I'm gonna use these colors, which are titanium white and iridescent pearl. So this blend should add a really nice color to his hair. I think I'm going to add in a little gray as a secondary color, so we'll add on to that next. Alright, so we just added the hair. I'm going to pull it off. Hopefully it's a thick enough white layer, and just judging by it, it looks like it might be. But let me let it dry and then we'll see where it goes. Alright, so I forgot the eyes. So I'm going to add the eyes right now. We're going to throw caution to the wind and just take off the tape now so it doesn't stick. There's a risk it sticks to the paper too long, and then you got a big issue. If it's not white enough, I'm going to have the issue with the paint and have to retape it. So that's going to be a nightmare, but it is what it is. Alright, so I had a slight tear, but it's not a big deal. I'll just cover it up, live with it. I could fix it, but it's just going to be kind of strange. I don't know, who knows, we'll see what we do. I decided to add some phthalo blue on top of this red to kind of give it kind of that purple to blue, because there is blue in the background, so I want to kind of contrast that. Alright, now I'm going to do his coat. I think I'm going to do kind of a dark turquoise. I'm going to use, let's see, Prussian blue, phthalo turquoise, and Mars black. So that should give us a kind of a really dark contrast, and a dark, gonna have a white shirt obviously, so you have that kind of lawyerly look as far as dark. I want to use black, but I want those colors to come through, so I want to use a kind of a lighter color to contrast the green to purple is a really good contrast. They're both dark, so the white hair should really stand out on top of that, and then we'll have the white shirt, of course. So I'm going to continue with his tie, so I'm going to just do the same color. I think it kind of makes sense, kind of like that really straight black and white kind of feel to justice, so I think dark green works, who knows. So for the white part, I'm going to wait. Yeah, it's close to all the other colors. I think I'm going to get the white dirty if I paint it now. Yeah, I'll just remix it. Probably more of a pure white. I don't think I'll use the pearl white necessarily. I don't want the shirt to pop. I want the hair to pop. So we'll see how that turns out. All right, today we're going to add the white and then probably the face. So we'll see how that turns out. Let's start with the white. Alright, so we kind of added in the pink layer. We added some brown around the edges to kind of give more of a roundness to the end of the face where the hair is hitting, and you're kind of hitting this round part from the flat. So the only way to do that is kind of a darkening. As well as with the nose, we're kind of highlighting that to make it come a little bit forward with the white. On the cheeks as well to kind of give it that curve right here. Eyes, we'll see how it turns out. It might be a total mess, but it is what it is at this point. And yeah, I think it should, we gotta let it dry, see where it goes. I gotta fix this area here, which is kind of like pockets, so I might just stick some gel in there right now. All right, so I just cut a little hole in here to fill this in so it sticks better to the canvas. Alright, so today what we're going to do is going to overlay the black layer. So we're going to have the outline. I'm going to add the outline for the jacket and also the collar here. And so we'll see where that goes. Hopefully everything lines up right, and hopefully don't make any mistakes. You never know. But so I'll see you at the next layer. Alright, so to do this layer right, you would mix the paint with extra heavy gloss, and that'll give it this nice layer on the paint that's going to make it stand out versus a normal kind of spray paint stencil. Spray paint stencil will be probably much easier because you just really hold the stencil very tightly and spray very carefully. But in this case, you have to press the paint through the stencil and then hope you don't go over anywhere, and then wipe it up quickly because it dries pretty quick. So you got to be quick on the draw here. Alright, so now we got to work quickly, take this off, and then clean up whatever's the mistake. Okay, in general, it looks like we're really lucky here and almost no mistakes. So now I can just tape and do little outlines that I couldn't get with the stencil, because you always have to leave room on a stencil. You can only do short marks, otherwise you get these long lines, and then that's when you get the overlap. So now I'm going to kind of close some of those gaps, especially on the outside of the hair and around the chin. Close that so it makes more sense. Alright, so we got kind of the easier parts done. Now we're going to do a lot more detail with masking tape, really thin one, so it's going to be a lot harder to work with, but that's what we got to do. Alright, so we put the black layer on. I'm going to let this dry, see where it goes. I might tighten it up a little bit more, but I think we basically got the effect of the face. The face color is kind of a little bit weird. It's kind of this orange color. Yeah, it's not my best trying this skin color. I think when I did my Trump one, it was funny because you could paint him orange because literally he was orange. But so yeah, it's kind of interesting. We'll see how it goes. I'm just going to put on the truth layer next. But I got to let this fully dry, make sure it's fully baked. Probably patch up this little green mark here that's kind of a mistake, but that's about it. All right, for the last stage, we're going to cut out the lettering. So let's get to it. All right, so I got to rush in and save that painting. There's his R's way off. All right, I think the worst is over. Basically caught it. I mean, there was a gap in the paper, so that's kind of why it bled. I should have probably fixed that before. I was going to fix it then, but it totally threw me off. I think it's more or less fixed. I mean, the R isn't as good as it could be, but it is what it is. I tried to prepare for that by dividing the letter in two, but it didn't work, so we'll see. I'm going to fill in the gaps now while the paint's still fresh. originally was in the Army. And so when he got out into the 60s, he started changing his style, incorporating the comic book style of the Army comics. So he started putting like planes and tanks and all kind of like bam, zam as an art form. And he used these triple dot, the color coding that they use in comics, which they boiled down to basically the three basic colors: red, blue, yellow. And then he would, draw these perfect circles. I think he used like a grid system, but he drew these perfect circles and it looked like a comic book. Now later he just abstracted the comic book style, so I don't really like per se like the 80s, maybe into the 90s style. It's just not as concrete. He got kind of stuck in one style and just kept extrapolating. But his initial style was just super cool with all these comic books. I would have just continued on that. There were so many more themes to cover, especially the new Iraq War. In the 80s you had, I don't know, you could have done all like the Vietnam movies, you could have covered that. But yeah, I think he was a pretty solid artist, and it's similar to my political pop style in a way. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Alright, just finished the painting. It's still drying, but I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the finished product. So you see in the top half I got the 1-0 paper. I kind of like how it turned out. I liked the original paper better, I think. If I had a chance to do it again, I would just probably not paint that. I saw another artist do that without painting it, and I was like, oh, dude, that's what I should have done. Anyway, let's keep going. Skin color I'm okay with. It's not perfect. It is very abstracted anyway, so I guess it's not too bad. The truth turned out pretty good. Just that R had that really close call that was really scary. It's still not exactly. I'm going to try to scrape a little more off as it dries. So I'm going to let it dry for maybe 15 minutes. It'll get a little tougher on the surface. And then try to scrape it away, see if I can clean up any more. But yeah, it's overall done. The truth pretty much stands out on the white. I was kind of worried about that because it's really obviously going to stand on the dark green for his suit. But I didn't know if it would work necessarily on the white. I think it looks okay. I was going to originally kind of black letter it and then put the truth on top, but I thought, it doesn't really need it. It should stand out on its own, which it does. So yeah, I think it's a really cool painting. I got all the meaning I wanted in there. Just the execution on the skin colors isn't so great. I used kind of a burnt orange, which is it's just okay. But I think on the highlights on the nose and the cheeks are not exactly right. I did it before I applied it, and I should have done a little bit lower to get it to line up right. But it's okay. I can live with it. I might want to redo the nose at some point to make it more defined. But yeah, I think it's pretty much done. Alright, hope you guys like it. Give me a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe below. And I'll see you in the next painting video. Thanks for watching, guys.